Hey guys, I'm Aspa, and today I'm going to show you how to analyze a Holy Priest log. If you don't know what a log is, go to warcraftlogs.com and check it out and get to know it. For this video I'm going to be using my own log from Mythic Crosus, so let's get to it. First of all, you're going to select the player you want to look at. In this case it's going to be myself, so you click yourself here, or whoever the player you want to see, and it opens the summary page. First of all, you see the stats, things to look at, mastery, how much mastery you have. 10k ish is around 10k is about 40%, or a little bit over 40%. Intellect, of course, stamina, crit, haste, versatility, avoidance. If you have leech, you would show it here. You see the talents, the amount of traits you have in your artifact weapon. You see the gear, gems, relics, enchants. But the first things you want to be looking at are, of course, stats. You want the intellect, or is one of the biggest factors. How much you heal actually, it affects your heals a lot. So you need to check intellect, especially if you want to compare it to someone. Like if I compare my log to someone with 35k intellect, the difference in numbers is huge, because I heal a lot more because I have a lot more intellect. Then what's important is talents. You want to make sure the talents are good for the encounter. Like for example, for Mythic Crosus, which is a really heavy prayer of healing fight, you will be casting a lot of AoE heals in general. You want to have enlightenment to have the extra mana to justify the amount of AoE healing you're doing, and so you get your mana lasts throughout the encounter. You want to be having piety to add more sanctifies, and of course benediction to get the passive healing from Pom and the renews. Then you need to check how many traits you got in weapon. Like ideally you have 54 at this point. Like if you are below, let's say 35, you are losing a lot of healing just because of that. Then check like everything is gemmed and enchanted, and then we get to the actual part when it comes to healing and such. We go to cast tab, and then the first thing we do is we click on the little plus here next to prayer mending. You want to be casting it on cooldown, so this is pretty much how the prayer mending should look like. There will be some bigger gaps of course, because there are points when you need to be casting something else than prayer mending, that you need to be casting like sanctify and follow with couple of prayer of healings, and your mending is sitting for a few seconds because of that. But this is pretty much how it should look like. Then we look at holy word sanctify. Let's click that off and we tick sanctify. We want to be casting it quite frequently, so again it's pretty equal. Some gaps are a little bit bigger, some a bit smaller, but you'll be casting it for major AoEs and whenever AoE healing is needed. So throughout the encounter, pretty nice amount of casts. Same thing with Serenity. A little less, of course. This is AoE dependent fight, so you cast them more sanctified than Serenities. But one thing that's really good to check is that you're not double dipping too much. So you don't cast them at the same time, because you lose divinity uptime if you double dip. If you follow sanctify with the Serenity, you lose divinity uptime. So when you cast the holy word, cast something else for 6 seconds and then cast another holy word, so you don't double dip the divinities here. And then you can check Light of Turay. This is pretty inconsistent, but again, you use it for tanks. Like on Crosus, for example, you only use it for tanks when they're under heavy damage, and like they have a lot of stacks, and slam is coming and you need to top them off quickly, so you can just use LOT on both, like I've done here a few times. And then you can check Divine Hymn also. Why is it not coming up? Here. You want to be using it, like on this fight it's about 6 minutes here, you don't want to be using it twice. As you can see, I was using it twice here. You could use it earlier and then in the middle again, but for example, we have everything set up, so this is when I use it. But ideally, like for 3-minute encounter, you use it once. Still once. 4.5, 5 minutes, you kind of want to use it twice. When you get to 7.5, closer to 8 minutes, you kind of want to get 3 times, three hymns out. Then we get to an interesting part, overhealing. There are multiple reasons that leads to overhealing. One of them is having too many healers, or one of them is that you're getting out-sniped, which means you're not reacting to the damage fast enough. On this, during this pull, I actually had a really good pull. Very low amount of overheal in general. The easiest sinks basically for overhealing is Prayer of Healing and Sanctify. Echo of Light will always overheal. There is nothing we can do about it. But like 35%, even 40% is alright. Especially in Mythic, we are having something like 45% master easily, and it can overheal about 40%. But you don't look at the overhealing of Echo of Light, look at the actual healing it does. And in here, it's almost 25% of my total healing, with 35% overheal. If I had, let's say, 10% less mastery, my master would be doing a lot less. The overheal would be most likely the same, because the ticks it heals are the effective ones. If the other big tick goes to overheal, it doesn't matter, because the first tick is doing the job. If both of the ticks would be, let's say, 10-15% less, someone else would need to heal the same damage out. But Prayer of Healing, if you're overhealing, let's say 40% with it, it's a little bit too much, so you need to take a closer look who you're casting it on and when you're casting it on. When there's major damage incoming, let's say something like the Slam on Croesus, you can easily precast Prayer of Healing, so when the damage hits, like a couple milliseconds after, let's say you see the cast, there's 1.5 seconds until the damage comes, and you know your Prayer of Healing is 1.8 second cast. So when you see the 1.5 minute mark, second mark, start to cast Prayer of Healing, and you will not overheal with it when you cast it on melee, for example. Same thing with Sanctify. When you know there's incoming damage, you have your people grouped up, just pop it on the group when the damage happens, and it will not overheal. Then we go to buffs. Buffs, not debuffs. Important things, like I said before, divinity, that comes from casting holy words. You want to have above 35% uptime on divinity. Ideally, it's closer to 40%. You are some sort of healing god if you go over 40% heavily, but like in this case, I had 39.9% uptime on divinity, which is really good. Not that much double dipping either. Couple times I have doubles here, so I lost a little bit of uptime, but in general this is really good, and it's really good even from me. Usually I'm around 35%, but this pull was really nice. Then you can see Blessing of Ture uptime. This is of course dependent on your crit and RNG. I had 3 procs, which is nothing magnificent, nothing game changing. It's a nice boost to healing. If it happens for a big Divine Hymn or when you're going heavy, like when you're going heavy with Innovate, Sanctify, Prayer of Healing spam, it's really nice, but you know, it's not game changing. It's still there. Then we can see, like I had Innovate here. Well, one thing I like to look at is how you use the Innovate. So what we do here, you see the Innovate, you go here, click the plus, and then we go to healing. Then we click here, we drag it so it blackens, so we get a zoom. Then we can do it again, so we only get the Innovate time, and we see what I or you were doing during the Innovate. Ideally, you cast things that cost a lot of mana and that generates a lot of healing. For us, it's Sanctify and Prayer of Healing. And as you can see here, I casted 1 Prayer of Healing, follow it up. I followed up with Sanctify, and then continued with Prayer of Healing. So this means I got the most out of it with very little overheal in general. A prayer feeling could have been a bit smaller with the overheal, but when you have innervate and you're not using mana, it's not that big of a deal. It just means that I'm getting most out of it. And it's really nice to get Sanctify here, so you get Divinity, you get Prowess and Naru, so the prayer healings here after Sanctify are so much stronger than the ones before. And then we're gonna do the same one for the next Innovate. We're gonna check that that was also a good one, or did I waste it? And similar thing here. Sanctify, that was a little later, which means I didn't have it ready. So prayer healings and then Sanctify, a couple more prayer healings. Again, good innovate usage, not wasted. Overheal, not that bad. Everything went nicely. And then least but not last, we go to reset the zoom. We go to resources. First of all, you can see hit points here, how they're like dipping, and then do you go here and you click mana. This is very important. As a holy priest, your mana drain need to be consistent, and you should be or should go when the boss dies. So here you can see my mana drain. In the beginning, I was spamming Smite for a lot, so my mana doesn't start dropping. And then it starts to drain more and more and more. I lay torrent here to get some more when I'm going kind of low, and then keep it steady, and then when the boss dies. This is very ideal mana usage. I had Blessing of Wisdom, which gives me around 25% more mana during this encounter, about 20-25% more mana, which is really nice. And then the late torrent potion. So this allows me, the Wisdom allows me to cast a little bit more prayer feeling. If you don't get Wisdom, you can't spam as much as I did during this encounter. So it also gives more, and I got the innovates that allowed me to cast even more prayer feelings. But it's very important that your mana drain looks about like this, and that you go when the boss dies. That means that you got most of your mana, and with of course as little overhealing as possible. Then things you can also look at is Desperate Prayer usage. The cooldown is quite low, only 1.5 minutes, so you can use it quite often. I only use it twice here. And then Healing Potion. And did you get most out of the Healing Potion? For me, it's 700k. It's pretty decent. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I hope this helps you to analyze your logs, and if you have questions or stuff, you can always find me from the HowToPriest Discord. Have a good one. See you in the next one.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and comment on the next kind of video that you want to see. Also be sure to join us in Discord.